Hey, what's good, everyone? Rich Rising, Rich Rising. Blah, 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 blah. So, today, I came across a video. Well, it was in one of my followers' story, and it really it really provoked me to do this live and just briefly touch on the importance of knowing what your position is, what your role is, and putting out a very, very strong message about knowing what your role is, what your position in this world is, and being happy and being successful at the same time just by staying in your position, knowing what your role is. So I'm gonna play this video. Um, I'm gonna play this audio for you all real quick, and I'm just gonna give my opinion on it. All right, here we go. Really dislike when a man sees the single version of me and be like, oh, well, you're too masculine. Sir, I'm literally out here doing the work of a woman and a man. I have no time to be soft. When I'm in a relationship, of course I'm being soft because I don't have so much of a load. I'm able to be a woman. But once I have to step in a man's position and become the provider and the nurturer, of course I'm going to have some type of masculinity to me because I have to have that part to keep going. I don't have nobody else to fall back on. So, of course, I'm going to be a little masculine. Play that one more time, y'all. Really dislike when a man sees the single version of me and be like, oh, well, you're too masculine. Sir, I'm literally out here doing the work of a woman and a man. I have no time to be soft. When I'm in a relationship, of course I'm being soft because I don't have so much of a load. I'm able to be a woman. But once I have to step in a man's position and become the provider and the nurturer, of course I'm going to have some type of masculinity to me because provider and nurturer. Okay. So let me just let me dive into this a bit. I want to dissect what she just stated. All right. Now, I don't know about you all, but me, I had to grow into adulthood. You know what that means? That means not only do you become the age of majority, but the childish things that you used to do, you don't do those things anymore because you are now an adult. So you have responsibilities that come with being an adult. In my humble opinion, I don't believe I honestly, strongly do not believe it has anything to do with a woman stepping out of her femininity into masculinity. It doesn't. You know, I listened to her a couple of times, and trust me, I listen not to just argue or, attack an individual, but as an adult, if you are a man or a woman, you know you have responsibilities, right? You know you have bills that you have to pay, bills that you are responsible for, bills that you have created. No one else is responsible for those things. Like, have you ever heard a man state that he had to step out of his masculinity into his femininity in order to get shit done, in order to get ahead, in order to take care of his responsibilities? No, you never heard a man actually say that. Why? Because that is totally and completely asinine. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. Listen to her again. I have to have that part to keep going. I don't have nobody else to fall back on. So, of course, I'm going to be a little masculine.
Really dislike when a man sees the single version of me and be like, oh, well, you're too masculine. Sir, I'm literally out here doing the work of a woman and a man. I have no time to be soft. When I'm in a relationship, of course I'm being soft because I don't have so much of a load. I'm able to be a woman. But once I have to step in a man's position and become the provider and the nurturer.
Now, let me stop it right there. She said when she has to step out of her femininity into masculinity to be a to be the provider and a nurturer. I'm thinking to myself, I'm just like, oh, okay, so because you are a woman, you can't be a provider. Because you are operating in your femininity, you can't be a provider. See, this is the thing that I believe some individuals they will hear something and then they will turn around and regurgitate it because they believe it sounds good. It sounds totally completely acidine. I was like, taking care of your responsibilities doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you are masculine or feminine. Because at the end of the day, it is a responsibility of yours as an adult. As an adult. See, you know, it was a black woman that made that remark. I've never heard any other woman say that. But this black woman made the remark. And be mindful, I'm not here trying to attack anyone. I'm just here to bring clarity to things that individuals are saying that is totally and completely redundant. It doesn't make any sense. I've never heard a man say, well, shoot, I got to step out of my masculinity into my femininity in order to get ahead because I don't have anybody to fall back on. We don't say stuff like that. We don't say stuff like that. We have the whole weight of the world on our shoulders. Guess what? Man can't step out of his masculinity into his femininity because if he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders and he decides that he wants to step into his femininity, what do you think is going to happen to his shoulders then? His shoulders are going to buckle because it doesn't make any sense. No man can step out of his masculinity into his femininity and just suddenly go from being a provider to being a nurturer. I've never heard look. Some ladies out here just regurgitate stuff because they've heard feminist individuals say this type of thing. It's like, think before you say stuff because it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. Because you are feminine, you're basically telling me and the rest of the world that just because you are operating in your femininity, you can't be nurturing and you can't be the provider. Honey, if you don't have a man, but you have children and you got bills to pay, who's responsible for those bills? Who's responsible for those children? If those children are in your possession, that means you are solely responsible. See, every the state, the world views you as an adult woman. As an adult woman, you have responsibilities. Bills don't take no break. Bills don't give no woman no special privileges or, oh, well, since you're operating in your femininity, we're going to give you a discount. We're going to give you a break. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. When you don't know the rules of the game and you don't know how to play it, you'll say redundant, stupid stuff like that because you're not thinking about the words that you're using to get your point across. Now, if she was saying that in the sense of saying hey, I had to grow out of my childish ways into adulthood, then I could understand that. I can understand that because ladies, whether you are in a relationship with a man or not, you still got responsibilities. The responsibilities do not give a damn whether you are masculine or feminine. Because masculine and feminine, you still got responsibilities. Whatever bills you have created, whatever children you have brought into the world that you have created with a man or a woman, it is like at the end of the day, it is your responsibility. It's your responsibility as an adult. As an adult, being masculine ain't got shit to do with it. Being masculine and feminine has more weight in shaping and building up a child. That's where it really is important. That's where it's really important. Again, and this is just my humble opinion. You've never heard a man ever in history say, you know what, I had to step out of, I had to step out of my masculinity into my femininity because I wanted to get ahead. Or I had to do what I had to do. I had to take care of a household. So I had to be a provider and a nurturer. You telling me that women operating in their femininity can't be nurturers and can't be providers for their own household? You don't have to be masculine. See, these feminist individuals, they love saying, "Oh, you got to, you got to think like a man. You got to act like a man. You got to sometimes carry yourselves like a man." They only tell black women that bullshit. And respectfully, I don't get that. I don't appreciate that. I don't respect that. Like, black women, I love you enough to say it. Stop allowing people to tell you how to think. Learn how to just follow your own God given intuition. I mean, respectfully, most women, most black women, they use their intuition anyway when they want to feel out a man and find out whether or not he's being truthful or not. And that's just being factual. That's just being factual. um, by the way, the two viewers in here, yo, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for even sitting here this long, listening to me make my point. But it just kind of threw me off. I was like, what? And I had to think about it for a couple of minutes. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't. Let me play it one more time for you.
Of course, I'm going to have some type of masculinity to me because I have to have that part to keep going. I don't have nobody else to fall back on. So, of course, I'm going to be a little masculine.
So she feels that she has to be a little masculine because she doesn't have anyone to fall back on. Gentlemen, uh, a lot of times we don't always have someone to fall back on. We don't always have someone to fall back on. We can't downshift into femininity mode. There's no gear shift going back to, well, let me downshift from masculinity down into femininity. No, it doesn't. Mm-mm. Even though some try, they fail redundant. They fail tremendously. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You know, it just doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. It doesn't at all. Like, man. So she was like, of course, I'm going to be a little masculine. I was just like, what? And the sad part about it is, here's the sad part, y'all. Here is the sad part, right? Because I'm getting myself together. The sad part about it is, and she even admitted it herself, that a lot of guys, they just get turned off from her. A lot of guys, they get turned off from her and whatnot, saying that, oh, she's too feminine. I'm just like, well, if that's what they're saying, change your ways. Just change it. I mean, guys, you've probably been told about some action or behavior that you've displayed that was unfavorable to other, to women. And you probably had that one female friend that was real tight with you, that you could talk to, that actually came to you and was just like, yo, Phil, um, I know what you're trying to do, but that's not favorable. It's not going to draw women to you. It's going to repel women from you. So if you want to draw a woman into you, you have to change your mindset. You have to change what you say. And a lot of times you have to change that behavior that you are so accustomed to operating on. You got to change. You can't remain the same forever unless you just want to be by yourself forever. And I won't lie, most of us men, we don't want to be single. We want to be able to grow old with a woman that loves us unconditionally in the same way that we would love her unconditionally. But we all know that, we can love without condition. But when it comes to us being loved, we're being loved with conditions. So it's like those conditions consist of, hey, can you be a provider for me? It will determine whether or not I'm going to love you. If you can't be a provider for me, then I might not be able to love you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, like if I can't give you what you feel that you should have, I'm not worthy. And that's how that tends to tends to make men feel. So, at the end, that's that's my opinion. You know, maybe she did not express herself enough, and maybe she was just using the wrong choice of words. But to use stepping out of your femininity into masculinity because you don't have anyone to help you with your responsibilities, whatever that may be, that's not an excuse. I'm like, let's not use that, because we have women who are operating in their femininity and they have advanced so far ahead of the game. They raised their children. Some of these women have met other men and now they're building empires together. That's it. That's all it is, man. That is all it is. But I'm gonna run that one more time, let y'all hear it, and I'm gonna wrap it up.
Really dislike when a man sees the single version of me and be like, oh, well, you're too masculine. Sir, I'm literally out here doing the work of a woman and a man. I have no time to be soft. When I'm in a relationship, of course I'm being...
Hold on. You notice she stated she's doing the job of a woman and a man. And I'm so curious to know. I was like, what two things are you doing that require you to operate in both masculine and feminine at the same time? I was like, you can only be one. You can only be one. And as I stated before, if you are born a woman, what do you know about being a man? Like, for real, what do you know about being a man? I was born as a man. I was born as a boy into a man. I don't know jack squat about being a woman. I know what I would expect from a woman. I know exactly what I would expect from a woman. I would expect a woman to be nurturing. I would expect a woman to be loving, caring, compassionate, understanding. You know, she has to be a helpmate in various areas, because I don't know everything. She might know more than me. So I gotta be able to pick off her brain, and she got to be able to pick off my brain. Whether she makes more or I make more, it doesn't matter, because collectively we're all working together to reach a common goal. It's not about being in a position where we got to compete against each other, because we're competing against each other and we're still losing. We're not advancing. Everyone else out in the remainder of in the remainder of the world outside of our community, they're working together. When I tell you they're working together, look, I see Mexican women out here with their men out here doing landscape work, doing contract work. They're working collectively to get to a common goal. They're working together to get to a common goal. I've never heard a Mexican woman say, oh, I had to step out of my femininity into my masculinity. No, even when I see these Mexican women out here doing contracting work, they're still operating in their femininity. Ain't that something? There's no feminists out there telling Mexican women, oh, you need to operate in a masculine role. No, they're not telling Mexican women that. Because Mexican women, they have always worked with all of the children in the community. They've looked after their sisters' children. They looked after their own children. They even went out and worked with their husbands. A lot of times the husbands be out there working all doggone day, and the wives be right there taking care of the kids. But now it's like even the Mexican women have gotten out here and started working with their men. And they're still operating within their femininity. The only ones that get caught up in that word game are black women. And again, this is not to, this video it's not to attack, but it's more to enlighten and educate in hopes of, hey, it might be a young woman out there that might come across my message. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. A woman might come across my message and it just might resonate with her. She might have to go back and look herself in the mirror and remind herself, baby, you're feminine. Operating your femininity. That's what you do. Because when you operating in your masculinity, and I'm speaking from experience because I know a woman who operated, who was doing that back and forth between masculinity and femininity. She ended up being by herself. And that's not a good feeling. I don't know any man or any woman that just wants to grow old by themselves. So that's, that goes on, that's my message for today. Again, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch up with y'all later. All right. Have a wonderful day.